Hello, everyone. This is Rise Up, AAPI Excellence, a podcast devoted to celebrating the experiences, challenges, and success of the AAPI community. I'm your host, Dr. Wang-Wolf, and I'm very pleased today to have our two of our guests join us, Yoonjung Lera and Sawyer Kim. Would you like to introduce yourselves respectively?
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much, Dr. Xuan, inviting us. I'm the co-founder of the Applied Computing Foundation. My name is Yoonjung Lera, and I'm very honored to be at your podcast. And to be honest, this is my first time being invited as a guest. So I'm very, very excited and a little bit nervous. So I make a little bit of mistake here and there. You can always edit later, right?
No worries at all.
Yeah. Okay, so here.
Hi, I'm Sawyer Kim. I am co-founder of ACF, working with the Yoonjungs side by side. Name and organization, and what I do is operation director at ACF. So my responsibility is figuring out the system to deliver the good learning experience for our student and growth opportunity for everyone that's involved in ACF.
Wonderful.
Wonderful. Very, very happy to have you two here join us today. So could you tell us a little bit about what ACF is and what do you do?
Absolutely. So ACF stands for Applied Computing Foundation. As name indicates, literally we try to empower students, even adults as well, through our various programs with applied computing, such as innovative latest technologies, such as artificial intelligence, or simply like a Kahoot, the flashcard, the biggest company. Yeah, so we teach even the easiest web programming skills using the, creating your Kahoot, your own the flashcard app. So that's our mission, that do not get so stuck with the traditional way of learning, because technology, especially with the pandemic, accelerating every single minute. So we try to empower our students to just be more bold and brave. Don't be afraid of tinkering with these programming languages. And then in doing so, we bring industry leaders, engineers, especially we are located in Silicon Valley, who have a passion to empower these future innovators. We connect with our students AI projects, so that we actually empower our students with the real examples, because these real industry professionals easily share what they do, and the students are literally wowed by, wow, what I'm learning is actually being used in the real life. So we are trying to make this vision happen in everything we do in Applied Computing Foundation, either through the camps, classes, or the community supporting program. We're doing live every single Saturday. We call it monthly app challenge. It's a students organized event, and they've been so dedicated that they've been doing for the last over a year. Every single Saturday. And then we finally bring lots of global audience so craving, hungry for this type of live pre-coding workshop we provide. So these are some of the examples what ACF does. And then we also working on the curriculums to make sure that students bound by the time difference or physical location doesn't really matter anymore due to the pandemic, but still time difference or language barrier, whatnot. So we actually documenting, making curriculums, videos, and PDF, whatnot. And we are distributing for free almost right now to the schools, especially low-income school districts, and then the organizations that need this kind of support. So we really try to make a difference with applied computing, not just with the classes, but everything we do.
That's really wonderful. Wonderful efforts and contribution to the society. And especially, ACF provides those free resources to our K 12, school systems. And administrators or teachers out there who are listening are tuning in to our, podcast today. Be sure to get connected with, Yoonjung or Sawyer afterwards. And then you know more about the amazing things that they have done. Sawyer, would you like to add something to what Yoonjung had just talked about the ACF?
I mean, Yoonjung gave you a lot of information to process, so I don't want to overload everyone, but let me try to give one word of what we're trying to do. So we want to be bridge builder, like a bridge building between the classroom and the real world, and empower our students to not to just stay within the classroom, just continue learning. We want to create this, build the virtuous cycle of learn, build, apply. So that's what we're trying to do. So after a short period of learning, we want to challenge our students. Why don't you go out? Why don't you take your skills and try to bring something good to your community? And you can do it. You don't need you know, like a whole lot of experience, whole lot of learning to do that. You just start with a small thing, and that makes a difference. That's what we want to try to instill in our students.
That's really impactful. I really love what you have just shared. Learn, build, and apply. That's what the our computer and computing and the coding skills are, right? Eventually there's a fine-tuned product that can be really applied in the real world scenarios. So tell us about how you help our learners to sort of meet the real world needs by applying the computing and coding skills.
Right. So I'm glad you asked that question, because that's kind of a DNA of Applied Computing Foundation, that we really go extra miles to make that happen. For example, ACF students work as a group, and anything worth pursuing, anything worth accomplishing takes some time and grit. It takes a lot of effort. You just cannot make it happen overnight. So we usually group of students who are interested in the same topic, and combined with the coding, passion for coding, we group them together, and then we nurture them over a year, sometimes 2 years. So for example, our students group, we call it startup teams. We have even nationwide and the global team as well. So the project examples, back to your question, how we connect their effort, endeavor with the real world, real community problem solving, right? So these teams working on projects such as building a geofencing map app for the firefighter. In California, dry season started. It's everything like right now is a brown and then dry. So we're gonna have that vicious cycle of dry and hot forest fire. It was really severe last year specifically, as you know. So the local firefighter came to ACF through mutual connection. And he said, I know we can take advantage of existing technology and effectively locate the resources. What we need is resources. Where is my hoses, dozers, the fire in the water tanks, right? And then he asked, can you guys group the students and build this app? And then we contacted our students, and they said, yes, I want to do it. So we formed a team about 6 months ago, and they building like really crazy hard with these firefighters, in this case, the end user and the community, the person who needs this solution, right? So that's like a prime example, how we involve our students' skill set and passion to apply their coding skills for the community good. I think that's it. And then we have a lot of other examples, such as one team consists of members here in Korea. They developed the app to help the blind people or visually impaired people to navigate the subway system, because subway system in Seoul, Korea capital, is a major transportation system. And even for the non-blind people, it's very, very chaotic experience because of the so much noise and then so much, lines there. You have to kind of transfer, you have to pay attention. So can you imagine the blind people's challenge? So they developed the app for this disability, the community. And then they did really well with the competitions because nobody really thought about their pain, their challenge, right? So it's not like a massive crowd entertaining project, but these are the prime examples of how ACF encourages, empowers our students, learn and build and apply for the society they belong. It doesn't have to be gigantic or very glamorous project, but something definitely only they can do it.
That's a really meaningful work, and then very practical and useful and impactful work, and applications, different skills that's being applied in real world scenarios. I really can't imagine how many lines in a subway in Seoul, South Korea, because I lived in Beijing, the capital of China, for a little less than a year, and then the subway system is probably expanding every year. There are like probably over 20 lines now, and then every time it's like headache for me to navigate from one station, change different lines. And I can't imagine for those people, like those citizens and people with impairment, visual impairments, and how difficult situation that is for them to navigate. And I hope, the students' app are, that's being developed and then can be applied, into the system and help, make a difference
right.
in the world.
So usually students, because there's so many outlets to encourage this type of, the passion for STEM, right? By the government or by the other STEM organizations globally. But usually I think it's very hard for them to continue that mentoring and the resource allocation actually taking off after the concept proof to the market. So we're trying to go even that extra mile. So this team I talked about, their company name, they call it Applicada. This team actually meeting the Seoul Metro, that's the public subway company system in Korea. They're meeting the Seoul Metro official June 12th, and then they're gonna present because the project, the app is already on the Google store. And then if they like it, they're gonna donate it. So that's gonna be the one example of you not just finishing after building or testing with the blind people. You going to the actual application and then you going to the actual community benefiting. That's what we're trying to do and show the world. You go all the way in. You don't just stop there.
That's really awesome. Sawyer, would you like to add on anything, any more examples?
Sure. So those two student teen startup companies are high school student teams. And I can also introduce some of our middle school teams, junior teams and their project. One of our team called Tenkayo. So that's the name of the game they're creating to support the small business owners. So to keep their customer more engaged toward the visitors of the small business are waiting for to be served. So that's one of the project their team is doing. And another junior team project is Math Game League. This was started by the suggestion from one of the middle school student, middle school teacher, math teacher. He teaches math and computer science at his school, and we're kind of discussing about how to get students more engaged, more motivated. And the one thing that that comes to everyone's mind was the game. Okay, so game should be the best medium for that, and how we can leverage that. And then we discussed, and we kind of get to the conclusion that why don't student teams build a game that can reinforce coding concept, math concept, where the students are playing, and each team will also create the tutorial for other students to be able to recreate the similar game project, learning the coding as well. So that's what we're doing with the junior teams. So we have tons of this kind of examples in our ACF community, trying to connect the community and the student team, try to bring some solutions for that. It's been really fun to see how things are being forged from that, initial that mission statement, problem statement. We someone take a cue of it and own it and try to make some, changes, bring some change to that. So that's what we're trying to do.
Wow, that's awesome. Utilizing games in learning and, the gamification is, like a hot topic in the ed tech world. That's really awesome. Students can develop certain games or apps that can, help the audience or customers engage for small business owners. I think that's really, kind of like a hot topic, and like, any reasonable business owners would jump on it, to keep their customers engaged, well, entertained, and be waiting in the line for a drink, or waiting in a lobby or a lounge, right? This is just really commonly seen in the real world scenarios, and I'm so glad to hear all the amazing projects and stories, and how much ACF is helping our learners, making an impact in our world and the communities. So I'm curious, how did you, being an Asian as well as a woman in this world, come about thinking of founding ACF in the first place?
Yeah. So Sawyer, do you want to go first?
Oh, sure. So this is, I think it was just wired in me, but with the effort I brought, I did was I always had some interest in starting business and creating something, doing some good along the way. But my own family has, we've been running this and that businesses where I was growing up. But I started off my career as a banker, very stable, very kind of a traditional kind of career. But what I tried to do was I tried to put myself into the community of people that has a similar passion. Like, so I signed on myself for this Christian businessmen's club, and trying to always read the books and try to get inspired other amazing business people's, what they try to accomplish and what they were able to do along the way. And I also have lots of experience in dealing with the business failure. So that also got me thinking about how to do it differently, something like that. And specifically for coding, that was pretty divine, because I started as um, volunteer for this organization, which try to empower people through education and entrepreneurship. And the education and entrepreneurship is really very strong drive force to transform the individual and their community. And what we tried a lot of things like job training or small business training or something, but among those, technology training was really powerful, especially the technology training for the younger people. It really changed their perspective and their life paths and such. And after I volunteered for this organization for a year, that really inspired me. Okay, I really make some give some good legacy, and this should be something I really devote this years of my life instead of staying bank and such. So I quit my day job and started the coding school, and it was pretty good journey. So working with all those kids and such, and but as we were working, Yoonjung also was running another coding academy, and we met. So we did some project together. We liked each other. Then we had this vision of that this is really powerful education. We really need to bring this to more people. Why don't we start a nonprofit organization together and to make this more available? So that's how we got started. So just one thing led to another, but I tried to kind of recognize my passion and what I feel interested, and kind of try to put myself that's relevant to that. Looking back, I think that's what I did.
So for me, Sawyer has more legitimate STEM background because her major is engineering. So I'm kind of a little outlier because my major is Korean literature and language, but I do have some network degree. I got it. So I do have some computer science, not coding, but some this rudimentary level of understanding. So for me, I worked in the Intel company as a project manager for 10 years. So I have a lot of project management experience working with the different division, different background, all kinds of ethnicities, right? And then Intel being a big company, we have a lot of volunteer activities and training. And out of all the amazing experience I learned, one of the best memories always doing this corporation volunteers. I always led our group, let's do this and let's do that. So it really, I guess, close to my nature and my heart to building the community and involving. So I think that's the biggest joy of right now, building ACF community from ground globally. And also, what I noticed though, because we are in Silicon Valley, we just had a lot of Asian students. And then we just noticed Asian students has this stereotypical type. They're good at math. Of course, they want to go to computer science major. And they are good at, programming as well, right? And they like winning this USACO Computer Olympiad, like a lot of top ranking. But when they come to us to do this community project as a team, we realized that they really had a difficulty in articulating why they're doing this and what they want to accomplish. And then the social skills, such as working as a team, right? These are not like graded as your math skills or computer skills at school, but ultimately, based on my experience working with the different ethnicity, different country people at Intel, it was a global environment. These are the very important underlying skills, sometimes more important than your computer programming, engineering skills. And if we don't train them early on, the gap between their computer science programming skills and these social and other leadership skills will get, it'll be wider and wider, and it's not going to give them a good opportunity, especially when they have this Asian ethnicity background. So we just, we're not like against the other ethnicity, but we really want, whether they are Asian, not Asian, we really want them to develop this holistic, comprehensive skills. I think my connection is a little unstable. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you get cut off a little bit. You're frozen a little bit on my end.
Yeah, sorry. My connection was a little unstable. So sorry, I got disconnected. So what I want to emphasize is that we need to, especially with this pandemic, they lost the socializing time. So with the ACF program, we really want to focus technical, but more important, non-technical skills as well.
That's awesome. Do you feel, I know our time is kind of limited and then to dive into more, topics, do you feel like most of the students that come to ACF all similarly are good at math and like STEM fields, but lacking those maybe soft skills, or do you think that could be an Asian community issue that
No,
you noticed?
no, not at all. We got all different. I mean, every student is very unique, and despite all the those stereotypes we kind of have, I dare to say that's not right. Our students, some of them, I mean, everyone is individual. Kind of have their own passion, interest, and some are good at something, and the others are good at something else. Some don't like this or that, but what we share is this desire to learn something and to kind of leverage it to create something else, and then see others are using it, and that kind of interaction is happening in started in the house internally, and then we also challenge our students to go out and connect to other community member. So I would say it's more about being not having enough of such experience. I mean, when we're growing up, we tend to be more kind of maybe in the classroom, and we're more accustomed to the passive learning. We're more used to the lecture style of learning instead of taking a certain project and do it and try to do the presentation, go out and just, tell others about what you're trying to do or getting feedback. So I don't think it's about being Asian or having those stereotypes. It's more about not having such experience before they join the ACF. But in ACF, what we're trying to do is learn, and then try to combine it with what you're passionate about. And we have all different students who's passionate about music, dance, robotics, and hardware. And such a student, I've seen the student who loves playing piano, take on the Arduino class and create their own some Arduino musical instrument there. And so the student who loves the language, Spanish language, they learned web programming and created a flashcard to use in their Spanish learning. And that's what we see. So it's more about getting the skill and leveraging it, and the collaboration and the reaching out to the community. So this is more like comprehensive kind of experience, trying to foster more leadership. So that's what we're trying to support each one's individuality and their own interest, and we really want to empower them that way. Like, okay, this is ACF style. You got to come down and do it. Not like that at all.
Awesome. I really like, how ACF is, focuses on each individual's, their own skill sets and talents, and then bring out their skill sets and help our learners build their skill sets to, make their talents more highlighted and foregrounded in their, applied fields. In terms of coding, it's that your computing skills, right? And that can make an impact in the community. That's really awesome. And as we come to the end of our chat today, I want to thank you both, Yoonjung and Sawyer, for sharing your, the great work that you have been doing within the ACF, and the impact it has on our community worldwide. And I want to say thank you again for joining us today. And the audience, please feel free to connect with Yoonjung and Sawyer and get to know more about ACF.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. It was our pleasure, and we'd love to come back and share more amazing stories we are having every day with ASAP.
Thank you, Dr. Chris, for having us here.
Thank you.
Bye.